I sat in the chair across from him, my heart pounding, as though I were the one about to be told something terrible. "You have a serious problem," I began, "but it can be dealt with. You have a tumor in your head. Dr. Meyerson says that given the location, the chances are 95% that it's benign." I had intended, like Meyerson, to be candid and describe it as large, but I couldn't. That there was a tumor seemed enough for him to take in. Not that he had registered any shock as yet. He sat there, emotionless, waiting for me to go on. "It's pressing on the facial nerve, and that's what's caused the paralysis." Meyerson had told me that it was wrapped around the facial nerve, but I couldn't say that either. My evasiveness reminded me of his on the night my mother had died. At midnight London time, he had told me that my mother had had a serious heart attack and that I'd better make arrangements to fly home because they didn't know if she was going to survive. "It doesn't look good, Phil," he said. But an hour later, when I phoned back to tell him my flight plans for the next morning, he began to cry and revealed that she had actually died in the restaurant where they had had dinner a few hours earlier. "It's not Bell's palsy," he said. "No, it's a tumor, but it's not malignant and it's operable. He can operate if we want him to. Dr. Meyerson wants to speak to you about an operation. I think it's a good idea to go back and talk to him now that we know what's up. I think that all of us should sit down together in his office and see if an operation is feasible. Finally, it's going to be your decision." I added feebly, "Meyerson says that it's a routine operation." Meyerson had indeed used that phrase at the close of our phone conversation the day before, and I had thought, sure it is. Routine for you. "Will my face get better if he operates?" "No, there just won't be any more deterioration." "So, this is the way I'm going to be?" "I'm afraid so." 2 minutes, and I had learned to talk like a surgeon. "I see," he said. And then he fell silent. And then he was lost, alone and lost, and I wouldn't have been surprised if, right then, he had died. His eyes were looking out to nowhere, onto nothing, like someone who had just been fatally shot. He was gone like that for about a minute. Then, having absorbed the blow, he was back in the midst of the struggle, estimating the scale of his loss. And my hearing. What the tumor has damaged can't be retrieved. The operation, as I understand it, will prevent anything further from happening. Unless the operation were itself to make something further happen. But I didn't go into that. I would let Meyerson apprise him of the risks, as well as of the size of the tumor and the encasement of the facial nerve. "Will it grow back?" he asked. "I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but you'll have to ask the doctor. We'll make up a list of questions. You'll write them down, and you'll take them with you, and then you can ask the doctor everything you want to know." "Will I be a zombie?" I don't think Meyerson would propose the operation if he thought that could possibly be the outcome. But could it not be? Of the 15% who Meyerson allowed were worse after the surgery, weren't they zombies, or close enough to what my father meant by a zombie? "Where is it?" he asked. "In front of the brainstem. That's at the base of the skull. The doctor will show you where exactly. I want you to write down all your questions so you can go over everything with him on Monday. I've made an appointment for us to see him and to talk this thing through with him on Monday." Of all things, he smiled. A wry half-smile, really. That worldly wise, heartbroken smile that says, "But of course." He put his hand to the base of his skull and, feeling nothing unusual there, smiled again. "Well, everybody leaves this earth in a different way." "And," I replied, "everybody lives on it in a different way. Everybody's battle is different, and the battle never ends. It's going to be an ordeal, but if the surgery seems to all of us the right way to proceed, then 2 months from now we're going to be sitting right here talking, and you're not going to have that thing inside you pressing on those nerves.